I guess it's, to me, it's kind of a modern score in that it's based on a song that Max Steiner did not write. And I think the story is that he wanted to have the film reshot so that he could write the song that the film could be based on, but they couldn't do it because of Ingrid Bergman and various political things. So he had to write a score based on essentially a popular song and the French national anthem, the Marseillaise, and that's actually a really modern idea. That wasn't a typical golden era film music kind of idea. So I find that kind of interesting. And then the other thing I find really interesting about Steiner, Warner Brothers, and the whole sort of era is this sense of almost uber rubato. And by rubato, I don't mean, well, rubato means the ebb and flow of time, speeding up, slowing down for expressive purposes. And that's a very European, very Germanic sort of notion. It's Mahler. It was a big thing in classical music, but there's some bizarre kind of rubato in film music, and I think it has to do with that most of that era of film music is designed around dialogue, not around singing, not around instrumental music. It's around dialogue and it's around the narrative, and the skill with which this score is, the skill with which he takes these songs and this French sort of thing and this whole idea and wraps everything around it is really extraordinary to me as a composer. As a conductor, it's enormously difficult to do because it's not a totally natural musical rubato. It's much more a narrative rubato having to do with the film. And yet it needs to sound musical, of course, and it needs to sound in that beautiful 40s, 50s Hollywood thing about this beautiful string sound where they never let go of the sound. So they might be slowing down to a point where it's almost stopped, but they'll keep going. It's as if they're like teetering on a cliff, and you can see them, they're just going to fall. They never just stop, even when they're holding, a note. And it's not a very modern kind of sensibility. So it's really difficult, for me at least personally, to make that stuff really work because of the whole style of it and the sort of history of it. And Steiner is from the beginning. This is part of his whole aesthetic about what film music is, at least in these kinds of films. In Casablanca, which is mostly a dialogue, dramatic film. Of course, he's done a lot of action films too, but in these sorts of films, which were the more kind of serious films, this is the issue and problem with it.